I would go homeless just to do this. Like it sounds dumb, and I have a family, for God's sake. But it's just that just allows you to understand the impact that has on a human being is actually doing or applying something that I taught them, and it's changing them in some way, shape, or form. Like that, there's no greater feeling. Like that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
On the 30th episode of Passion in Progress, Vertical Filmmaker Benjamin Brandon. You need to strap yourself in because this episode is jam-packed with value. Benjamin Brandon is a vertical filmmaker that is dedicated to teaching you how to make epic vertical video content. An IGTV influencer who is currently averaging around 10 to 20K views per upload. And most of all, he's created a community around the hashtag VERRT, which is VERRT, Vertical Film Making. This episode specifically addresses how Benjamin's influence has grown and how he interacts with sponsors when they approach him. Above all of the marketing, monetary, and influencer ideas that we get into, we talk about his purpose and why he is doing what he is doing. It's a very exciting conversation, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Before we get to the podcast, I want to thank all of my listeners out there. I am 30 episodes into the hashtag Passion in Progress show. This is amazing. That's 30 weeks. 30 weeks I've been able to put out an episode every single Wednesday for you guys to get inspired. I get inspired by this. This is so cool. If you've been getting value out of this show and you would like to support me, I have a Patreon account. Even something as little as $1 helps sustain me and this show. My Patreon account is at www.patreon.com/Javier Mercedes. If that's not your cup of tea, thank you so much to those who have been sharing it out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those different places. If you want to tag me in anything, I'm at Javier Mercedes X. That's Javier Mercedes X. And if you really dig the show, you can write me a review on iTunes. So with that being said, let's get into some vertical video talk with Benjamin Brandon on the 30th episode of Passion in Progress. What is up, Mercedes? Javier Mercedes here for yet again another Passion in Progress show. We are here with fellow Austinite and vertical filmmaker, Benjamin Brandon. How's it going, man?
Amazing now. One, because this coffee is awesome. Two, because that intro literally just makes me want to just punch stuffed animals. That was so hype. Oh my God. Whew. Oh, yes, I'm amazing. Thanks for having me in your humble abode, in your beautiful studio, and meeting your awesome family. That was awesome.
As you as an influencer and what you're doing now, vertical video or anything, when you woke up this morning, like what was the one thing that you're focused on, where you are at as a person, as a creator, just like moving forward in your life? When you woke up, what was the main thing you thought about this morning?
When I woke up, the main thing was, how can I come here to provide you value? That was literally the one thing. Like, okay, so is it research that I did last night, or is it, already being a fan of the podcast? Like, what can I come here to support both you and your audience on? And it really was a lot of things, honestly. It was a mixture of story. It was a mixture of outside of the box thinking. And I think for me, like my mission today and my mission in general, starting to create the community and movement that I'm doing with vertical video is...
Can you give the hashtag?
Yeah, hashtag VERT. So hashtag VERT is the community of online filmmakers who shoot vertically. And it's really, that's what it is. And it's so much more beyond just the 9:16 aspect ratio. It for me, it stems down into like the why, right? So when I woke up, I always try to think about my why. Like, what am I going to do today and why? Vertical video and hashtag VERT is such a different community, in my opinion, because I want to build a home for those who have never had one. And for me, like stemming down from, I have a weird background of, yes, I went to film school. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and I went to, I've done the film school thing, and I did the musician thing. And it's funny because a lot of editors, I've also done post-production for NBC. So a lot of editors have always had some type of like, there's a hysteria of like, do they have a music background? Like,
we talked about it on Jeff's podcast. Yeah.
Sure. And when you said that, I was like, oh, yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the why behind hashtag VERT, and essentially the similar why as to when I woke up and what I wanted to do here, is to get people to think. Everyone's trying to think differently, but I don't think anyone's really actioning on that difference of thinking, right? So if I want to think differently, yeah, I can go make a vlog. And I can essentially shoot it, very similar to how, the Caseys of the world do it, or the Codys or whatnot. But how do I make it more different? The only difference in that scenario is probably me, maybe my skill set, maybe my camera, maybe my lens. But it's a deeper meaning than that. It's what do you want to do as an individual for the rest of your life? And how are you going to accomplish that? And with VERT, it's very much so taking the difference in creative people and applying themselves and challenging themselves in a 9:16 aspect ratio. And when I say I'm trying to build a community of people who've never had a home before, vertical video has been extremely scrutinized forever. You look at one of the biggest vertical film, or the biggest thing about vertical filmmaking or vertical video right now is vertical video syndrome. I don't know if you've ever seen that YouTube video. It's like 6 years old. And essentially is a bunch of puppets talking about how grandmas are shooting vertical video, which is funny because my mother-in-law, the grandma to my children, makes vertical videos on YouTube. And she did that like ages ago, trying to, let us know how she makes her macaroni and cheese or how she feeds her cats. So it's like weird because it's very true.
I'm enticed. I actually want to see these.
You have to see them. Like, oh my God. Like, it's so funny because they're unlisted. I'm like, Julie, you need to, like, this is going to go viral. Like, the fact that you're feeding your cats and it's, oh God, so good. Anyway, so vertical video syndrome is the video that pretty much makes fun of that in a sense to where it's like, hey, do this, not this, and hold it the right way. And for me in film school, I was the, I guess, quote unquote, punk rock type person where I've always hated being told what to do. I've always hated kind of, staying in the norms of, what people teach you. That's why I made all my films growing up in like film school. They were very weird and different and had raw emotion and like maybe they were about politics or maybe they're about like horror stuff or like it was just a bunch of weird stuff because I wanted to be different.
Yeah.
Cut to today, I found my difference and I found what truly fulfills me both as a filmmaker and as a creative, and that's vertical films.
Yeah, I love how when you interviewed Cody, he's like, I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm referencing a video where he actually, I'll let you tell the story. Can you tell what you went down?
The origin of that story is, so we both met at Vid Summit. We attended Vid Summit. It was incredible. Everyone got value out of that summit. And Cody Warner was one of the keynote speakers there, and I wanted to chat with him forever because people on Twitter were telling me, hey, #vert is what like No Small Creator is. And I was like, what's No Small Creator? And he's like, oh, it's ran by this guy named Cody. He just had a video with Peter McKinnon. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. So I watched the video. I was like, oh, he's actually like good. Like this is like, he's like, I didn't know if it was like one of Peter's friends that he brought on and blows up, which he does, which is great. Luckily his friends are actually talented as well. So that's cool. Before that, people, when people thought of me and what I was doing, they thought of Jesse Driftwood. And they thought of like his Instagram stories. And he's what motivated me in 2016 to go Instagram stories. And that's kind of where my vertical filmmaking started is, Instagram released stories late 2016. It was like Q1, I guess, of 2017. I love
how you in business speak.
Oh, yeah.
You bring it up in Q1, Q2.
Yeah.
How are my numbers doing?
Yeah,
in Q2?
Exactly. Q2, what do we got? Let's go quarterly analysis for net now. Just kind of doing it. And I was like, this is actually a film. Like I'm creating a narrative and I'm using the 3-act structure, 3-act narrative in every single one of these videos or stories. And that's exactly what Jesse was doing. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing this. And then the tension started to grow. And that's when I realized, okay, there's something here, cut to Cody. It was a very weird scenario because people were telling me on Twitter, they stopped talking about me and Jesse Driftwood and Jesse and I have had micro interactions online. Whereas Cody and I never in the face of the earth knew about each other, and so I was like, okay, so I knew he was going to be there. And I was like, I actually wanted to go to another keynote that was the same time as his. I was like, I forget who it was, honestly. But I was like, okay, I'll go. So I go, I ask him a question on stage, and that was, everyone's telling me about you, and you have No Small Creator, which is a community, of people you just want to do, whether it's video or whatnot. I have a similar community, which is those who want to create, vertically and different and whatnot. And one piece of advice for me that I am literally applying to this day is, so I have a Facebook community, #vert, the vertical video community, on Facebook. And he said, how many people do you have in that group? And I was like, I don't know, if like 50 right now. And he was like, how are you treating it? And I was like, I'm just, making content and, saying what's up and all that.
Yeah.
He's like, treat it as big as you think it can be. And I was like, what? That's what I was, and I think I asked the question back, like, as big as I think it could be? And he's like, no, as big as you think it could be. And I was like, it's he almost repeated the words, but I was like, yeah. So treat it like, for me, how many of you right now are actually shooting vertical, you know? And if that's the case, if you don't know anyone else that's doing that, then yeah, well, we're the home that you just found, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's 50 or 50,000 or 5 million, I'm going to treat it just like that. So I'm in there every day. I'm doing something, I'm encouraging people every day. You know, we're literally just making video vertically and telling people, I'm obviously on YouTube to show people how I do that. And now it's starting to, you know, resonate. So Cody's was weird because we had 2 interactions. One was that question. And then the second one, I saw him outside and I was like,
yeah,
dude, can I ask you another question? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. It was super awesome. So we actually connected and actually physically said, what's up and hi. And like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I do. And I was like, okay, I just want to know your thoughts on vertical video. So he goes, and this was super candid, not edited, anything like that. He just, I don't like it. And I was like, all right. And I'm over here like, now I have to improv because like he literally like that. This can go either one of 2 ways. Either I play with the story or I was like, all right, well, we're okay. I'm never putting this on the internet. I'm just like, well, that's it. If Cody Warner, who is now, you know,
you're not going to slander him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That I don't want to slander him. I don't want to slander Vert. And I'm like, oh man, if this person of influence right now is saying vertical is like, bleh, I'm like, all right. Luckily, he comes back and it's like, well, okay. I don't like it because it's different. I haven't explored it yet, you know, and you're capitalizing on it. So that's awesome. And I was like, oh, thank God, that's cool. This is valuable.
Yeah, I think in his words, because it's different, it presents opportunity.
Mm-hmm,
and where there's something different, you can have opportunity.
That is the one thing that, so, you know, when you think about something and you kind of like, I don't know, have premonitions or visualize it. And you're like, for me, it was opportunity. It's like, there is something here. There is opportunity in vertical video, some way, shape, or form, but I don't physically see it. It's air right now. I know I'm breathing it, but I don't see it. Right. So it's like, okay, is this going to be something? Do I put all my eggs in this basket or all my energy and time and inertia into this and all my creative, you know, juices? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to, and I'm see what happens. And what's great now is don't get me wrong, I'm not blowing up or anything, right?
Yeah.
But I am starting to be known as the vertical video guy, right? IGTV has been insane for me. IGTV has been like, a lot of people right now are confused with it, or they think it's dead, or they don't maybe know how to use it, or so on and so forth. And for me, it was essentially, I knew that was my ticket. And I wanted to take the stories that I did and make them, you know, instead of cutting them up at 15-second increments, I wanted to create, you know, long form 2 to 3 minute videos to tell some type of story. So I started doing that literally day 1. IGTV launches June 22nd of this year, right? I have 1,300 followers on Instagram at that point. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm just going to, you know, do it. Everyone tries to find something. And even me being on YouTube for, I think it was a year last month, like for the, like my first year, throughout that whole time before June, I was like, I'm just kind of ebbs and flowing with everyone else. I am a filmmaker. I have professionally edited video for, you know, NBCs of the world and MTVs and whatever. So I knew a little what I was talking about. I also run my own vertical video production company where I make vertical video ads for clients around this area. You know, I had something to say, and I knew I wanted to, all my life, I knew I wanted to help someone some way, shape, or form. And instead of going like a nonprofit route, which wouldn't creatively fulfill me, I went a very much, you know, influencer route. Cut to IGTV. I start uploading, you know, every day for the first week and just making whatever I can think of, whether it's me playing with my son on the bed, which we're not supposed to do. Sorry, babe. You know, like, it's just one of my most popular videos. Yeah. Exclusive. Nowadays, it's more outlandish. You know, I just wrapped, a video working with Yode watches, in which they wanted to, you know, take that avenue and like, okay, well, we know vertical here is here. We know IGTV is a thing. We don't know many people who do it and do it well. So they were fortunate. I was fortunate enough to, you know, land that gig, and BMW is another one. So me and BMW of North Austin collabed, and they gave me their X3 for 3 days, and I rode around and made a vertical film about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so now it's cut to that point. But on the followers has been the craziest thing, because I hate saying the word followers, because I think that's very much I'm like dehumanizing people by calling them followers. So on YouTube, I call my subscribers friends, because that's what they are. You're a friend. Yeah, and you're a close friend because you're here. In Austin,
Literally proximity,
like,
physically,
boom, you are
close friend.
here. So I got the friends aspect, and now that's cool. And on Instagram, I also call them friends and family, and Insta fam or whatever it is, just because I don't like the term followers. But what I do like about people who follow is that I can engage with them in some way, shape, or form, and they're here following me for some reason, and I need to fulfill that reason every day. And right now it's because of vertical video, but the deeper psychological meaning behind that is doing something different and not giving an S about it. And I think that's where it's from. So IGTV, I started uploading, and because of the frequency, the velocity, and the quality is good, the stories are there, and the videos are good too. It just jumped to where I'm hitting thousands and thousands of views and gaining all these new friends. And now, I just passed 6,000 followers, and it's just growing every day. And it's because I finally found something that I can call my own, but share with others, and I think that's the best way to look at it. And I think for anyone trying to do anything in the creative world, everyone tells you pick a niche, find a niche, but I disagree with that. I don't think you can pick or find one. I think it finds you. Similar to like when I got married. Everyone says, yeah, I want to know where this is going. This is going left. This is going left. Yeah, this ring is going to just disappear soon. Oh, man. We've heard it. Our parents have told us, you'll never find a wife or find a girl if you're looking for it, because you're kind of like on a prowl, I'm over here on E6, like, what's up? How's it going? All fresh and like trying to, have game or, not be myself because
Flex.
I'm on the, just that,
Dab
exactly.
Haters.
I kid you not. And my wife and I just praise whatever you want to praise all day about this, because if I were to do this 5 years ago, I would be a complete douche. I would be so Logan Paul-esque because, I think every creative has an ego, some way, shape, or form, right? And it's how you apply that to the world and share that. That's a whole different meaning. So me being mature now, I have 2 kids, I'm married, I'm very much grounded in the fact that I'm doing this because I love to do it and I love to help others do what they feel they want to do. When I stopped looking for a girlfriend or, anyone to be around, that's when I found my wife. And it was a blind date. Never met her in my life. Comes to get this sweet, beautiful woman just appears out of nowhere, and I'm instantly like, huh. Okay, like all this egotistical stuff is weird out the door, and now I'm just being myself. And I never searched for that. I never, I've always longed for it deep down, but I never really just applied myself to go find that. And when I stopped that, or I did, and then when I stopped it, there she came. So that was it. That was literally the last day we ever have been apart, prior to me like traveling for work. That's it.
It sounds like being your authentic self is what led to actually having an authentic relationship.
Yeah.
From my perspective, and I think what a lot of people listening to this will get from it that are creators themselves, is there's 2 things. Like you could do the vlog thing for a couple episodes, but I think, and you even point this out, you could do how-tos, technical, whatever that may be, to get the views and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Where's the gratification in both of those? And can you just explain what your experience has been so far?
So I think, and again, I think this brings up on the niche thing, right? Is people, it is true, it's easier to succeed online in general, especially YouTube, when you have something that you're known for and people can go to. So that is one, right? And that's true. For me, I look at YouTube as a community of 2 people. People who want to know and understand something, and people who want to be entertained and feel something. I like to apply those 4 together into my content. So the vlogs are definitely to talk to my friends, I'm filming here to show people how, my new friend Javier has an amazing podcast and has all this cool stuff. And like that will provide value to my friends because they're in a similar, background of some sort. Or my mom who watches my vlogs but doesn't watch my tutorials, which makes sense, right? Why does she want to know the frame rate of vertical video? Right? It does fulfill me super creatively because I can literally just make a little movie out of something out of nothing. And I think that's the thrill, right? I think the reason why Cody is so successful now is because he was ready for that pop, right? Because he was documenting and telling stories way before Peter brought him on, right? And he was, just doing him. and talking to people, whether they were listening or not. He didn't care. He was just doing that, right? And I think there's a thrill behind that. For me, creative outlet is huge. It's so huge that when I didn't do it, so the film strike came in 2008. I lost my job at NBC. I tried to do a freelancing thing in LA. Horrible. It didn't go well because every other one was doing that with a lot better credentials than I had. So I was drowning, and I, did the whole, okay, I'm going to go make coffee. So I work at a coffee bean and making coffee, which is great because it's so funny how there's a reason for everything. Because that's where I met my best friend. That's where I met so many amazing people I still talk to in my life. And that's where I got an opportunity to work at Apple at one point and like do creative stuff. I taught people Final Cut Pro, and I taught people Photoshop, and I taught people how to use their computers. And that was awesome. That's where I got my teaching nick, which is the second thing is I love to teach. And I knew that back then, which was cool. I just never really knew how to apply that, So YouTube is that other outlet of I can teach people, and I'm doing all the things that I want to do. I'm providing value for someone, which is it's the selfish, unselfish thing to do. I'm selfishly doing it because I get a thrill out of it, because I love that someone can take what I know and apply it to whatever they want. Oh, so good. So good. And then the other part is I get to explain stuff and break it down, in the challenge of trying to break down something so complicated like frame rates. And, I made this one video about vertical video in frame rates, and I broke it down with coffee beans, and I showed them 24 beans of what you can create. I showed them 30 and what you create, and I showed them 60, right? So you can create more with more frames, right? And stuff like that is the other part. Just, yes. And then talking to Jack Conte, we geeked out.
Who that is for reference?
Yeah, so Jack Conte is the CEO of Patreon. He's also an amazing filmmaker, an amazing musician. I mean, he's just he's like my creative mantra.
He's on another level.
Yeah, he really is. And we geeked out about the other thing that I tried to create out of nothing, which was how to apply the rule of thirds vertically. So I have something that I've developed called the vertical thirds, which are essentially just flipping the rule of thirds.
For those listening, what he's referencing is your head is in 1/3 of the frame, meaning if you were to treat the whole widescreen, there's one face, instead of putting them in the center, you put them over in the sides so they look across the screen.
Yep.
So it has to do with what's positive and negative space and things like that.
Yeah, and this is what I do for #VERT, and this is what I do for my YouTube channel, is essentially take traditional rules of filmmaking and apply them all vertically. You set up your conflict, your resolution, right? That's your 3x structure. Vertical video right now has to have a pretty fast pace. So applying a structure in a 2 to 3 minute video, because right now studies are showing, and even from my own research, that anything over a 3-minute video vertically, people are just not going to watch right now. The culture's not there yet, right? It's because the culture is on YouTube, which is horizontal. Although YouTube is now officially yummy and really good looking, applied vertically as well. So now I've put vertical films on YouTube, and it's honestly, in my personal opinion, it's a way better experience than IGTV. But IGTV is bringing they're the trendsetters, because they're bringing the culture of long form video vertically, right?
YouTube finally has competition in that space, so they're renovating. Yeah,
absolutely. It's Instagram's move now, because YouTube has made a very good experience vertically, very good. Like I prefer it. But my attention is not on YouTube vertically. I do it just to see what happens, right? And I'm kind of A/B testing there, and I'll essentially apply the same film on IGTV, and that still gets 5,000 views, 8,000 views, 10,000 views. Whereas YouTube, I don't even break 1,000 half the time. It just clearly states the culture's not there, which is fine. I don't think I make the best vertical videos or vertical films. I think Jesse Driftwood's way better than me, but I market it more than he does, because he markets himself as a photographer and as a filmmaker. I market myself as just a vertical filmmaker who does videography stuff at some point. That's literally what I do. And the cool thing about that is, I'm known for that, but I also have the pressure on myself to really live up to that. And I can only do that by creating different things and different ways to teach people. And vertical thirds is just one of them.
I think when we first got this started, and if we can bring it back around, we were saying you were relating it somehow to Jack Conte.
Oh, God, can I go all the way over there?
Yeah.
We were, thank you. It was cool because we geeked out about that. And he was like, wait, you made something called the vertical thirds? I'm like, yeah, just applying it vertically and, blah, 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 everything we just talked about. And he was like, that's amazing. And I was like, and he was talking about opportunity again. That's your opportunity. That's what you're doing with that. That's incredible. He referenced the Beatles in that. where the Beatles had a very particular kick sound in the drum.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because essentially you're supposed to put the microphone about 6 feet away from the kick, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they did not do that. I think they put it a little closer, so it had a punchier sound, which was completely different and unique at the time. And it's not like that's what got them into stardom, but it created a different type of sound that literally, to this day, the Beatles are known for, and everyone emulates that because they thought differently, because they went outside of their box. And that's what that whole vertical film was about, is thinking outside of your box. You know, you have your box, and the things that are inside your box are the things you do not change. And that is your passion for whatever you want to make, your values and morals, religion, if that's in there, and then your niche, if you have one. You know, just that's your box. Don't change who you are. Don't change your creative process. Don't change unless it values your creativity. Don't change, you know, your values or morals for anyone else, because that makes you who you are. And the people who succeed so much online nowadays are the people who are truly themselves.
It's so true.
Right? So that's your box. And everything outside the box, you can change and mix up all the time. And that includes, you know, for YouTube, it's the tags and titles and descriptions and thumbnails. And, you know, you can constantly change those things and evolve those things to your content for more people to see. And that's cool. But as long as you're keeping what's inside the box, you, and not changing it, you change the game. And that's how he said that's his true definition of how you just deliver your content. You just make great stuff, as he says. Yeah.
That and work to publish.
Work to publish was the other one. Yeah.
How are you finding yourself making your content in your most authentic form, like making something that's authentic to who you are, but not in a way that's like, I gotta be so different to do this? Because obviously what you're doing is different. But one of the things that I have a challenge with right now is, how do I strip away these barriers of all this stuff and just like talk to the camera as if it's like somebody, a friend or whatever, and then also get across the message in a most efficient way? It could go on and on and on, but just getting back to like, stop trying to BS what you're doing, and then like just make it easier on yourself and do.
Yeah, just, and that, I mean, that's literally it. It's a mindset. So I'll give you an example and story. So I got a collaboration with Yode watches. They're known for their wood making and their unique style watches. And they approached me because I do different things vertically, and they were interested, and they're huge on Instagram. So they were like, yeah, this is our following. We want you to see if you can do something creatively. So, okay, do you want me to make an ad, or do you want me to like, you have a collaboration? Like, you want
make it a lifestyle?
Yeah, exactly. So they were essentially like, well, no, we don't want an ad. They started with, we want you just to wear the watch and, you know, make something with it and, you know, just rave about it and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so just a typical, you know, like, hey, then today's video sponsored by Squarespace. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, it's like, I'm at the stage in my influence right now where I'm not getting paid huge brand deals or anything like that, but I have some micro attention now, which is cool, but it's because I'm who I am. And it's because I tell a story. It's because I genuinely want to help people. And it's because I genuinely want to make really cool stuff. Like, that's like my formula. That's what's in my box. Right. So with them, I was like, all right, I'm not doing that. But I love this watch, and I really do think it's unique. And I think it does fit the culture of vert, because it is different. You know, wood watches are different. I mean, you know, when you think of watch, you think of like 2 to 3 things. You'll think of an Apple Watch, you'll think of a Samsung watch, or you'll think of a traditional, you know, just regular watch, either metal or leather band, you know. Whereas wood watches, like, it's not the first thing that comes up in people's minds. So that right there intrigued me. I was like, how do I tell that story? Or how do I incorporate something different with just watches and why we wear them and time in general? So what I did was I wrote up something, and I came to them with it, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. If you want me a part of this, this is what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to create the film all about time, and not the time itself, but the mindset of time. Because for me, when I think about time, and I never wear watches prior to today, for this particular reason, is because time, watch was always a reminder of the time I never had, or the time I, you know, had to be somewhere, or deadlines. And it just, there's all negative connotation with time. I stopped wearing my Apple Watch because of it. So now it's a different meaning. So that film is all about how to seize your time, how to seize more of it. And it's not like, all right, mom, I'm never going to talk to you again so I can make more YouTube videos. It's more, how do I do both and still be happy? Yeah. So the mindset is a complete change. So what I called it was Seize Your Time. And essentially was talking about how I'm just going to look at it in a completely different lens. I'm going to see the time that I don't have as the time that I do have. And what do I do with it, right? For me, I'm a pretty productive person in general. I don't watch TV. I don't watch much YouTube unless, it's research or like watching my friends. Like I binged your stuff last night, right? So stuff like that. But I also incorporate my wife into that so I can spend time with her, right? So that's just kind of like the essence of seizing your time is I need to do some work and research some videos, but I also want to spend time with my wife. Now, granted, we'll still have one-on-one time, but the fact that I'm bringing her into this ecosystem, which she's completely unfamiliar with, right? She's definitely I hate Facebook and social media. I don't like attention at all. Whereas I love all that. Like I love social media. I love how you connect with other people. I love attention because I know that I can bring resonance and value to someone whose attentions I gain, right? So that's that. And with hashtag Seize Your Time is really just that, is the mindset's completely changing. So here's a good example. I don't prioritize working out much. And I think that's one of the first things people think about with time. It's like, I don't have time to work out. I was one of those. I'm like, I don't have time to work out. Granted, I try to stay fit and, I do work out, but I thought of it instead of me trying to work out every day, why don't I work out to the point where I feel fulfilled? Because why am I working out? Am I working out to gain, muscle and like, hang out with the women? No, not at all. Right. Yeah. I'm doing it so I can get endorphins, so I can start my day right. And so I can have more energy throughout the day. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't take me an hour to get that. It takes me 20, 30 minutes. That's it. So even stuff like that, cutting what's once took 90 minutes into 30, and I have an hour to do more stuff with, call my mom. So when I brought that to Yode, they were like, yeah, okay, wow. Yeah, let's try that. It's not an ad. It's not even a dedicated film. It's applying the fact that this is now an emblem of I need to do something I didn't have time for every day for 90 days. Yeah, I'm going to do it forever, or try to. That's exactly what it is. So
how long are you into it right now?
I think I'm on day 10.
And how's it played out so far?
It's been crazy.
How's your journey been in that 10 days? Give me like a difference between day one and where you're at right now in this physical room.
Day one is like, I'm going to make an extra Instagram post. That's day one.
That was it. That was it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I got it. Day 10, I am having lunch with my mother next week. Cool. Like she moved all the way from LA to here to spend more time with me and my grandchildren, or her grandchildren. We'll do that once a week, so that's cool if that. But that's it. I never see her. I never have time like to hang out with her one-on-one. Like I don't know what my relationship with my mom is anymore because during my adult age, I left home. I went to go do my own thing, and maybe I called her once a month, and that was it because I was all focused on me. So from day 1 to day 10 right now, it's making me completely selfless, which is crazy. I'm doing something for me because I am challenging myself to do something I didn't have time for every day. And the fact that I'm able to have lunch with my mom, which sounds so small and simple, but the fact that that's never happened since she's moved here, which was like, it's been 2 years now. It's insane. Mm-hmm. So there's no excuse for it. Mm-hmm. So that's like the evolution from at least day 1 to I don't know what's gonna happen day 90. I'm probably gonna like cure cancer or something. I don't know. I have no clue. But it's awesome and riveting to like think about the fact like what will that do at day 90? Like what will happen?
What about your creativity in the videos that you're making right now within just keeping time of the essence?
Yeah, I'm making more vlogs, which is interesting because I brought up the vlog and I've already made 2 since Vid Summit because of Jack.
Yeah.
And because of my friends on YouTube wanted to see, they enjoyed my vlogs, and because I tell a story and because they look okay. And, my wife loves my vlogs. My mom loves my vlogs, like my family loves my vlogs because either they're in it or my sons are in it or, so on. So it just, there's a connection there. I didn't think people cared about like that, I didn't think people would care that I took my son to swim school today or that I started my own video production company and it's like, it's going horribly or, so stuff like that. So I just started documenting that and I stopped. And I stopped because I was like, all right, no one really cares about it. And the views are down. And, now I'm thinking more logical, or more analytical, if you will, right? I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. But then I asked myself, why am I trying to grow my YouTube channel?
It all comes back to why, man.
Mm-hmm. So like, what do I really want? Do I want to be famous? Like, do I just want to have the ego boost of views and like attention. And I really had to sit down with myself and was like, well, yes, a lot of that is true, but it's not the core reason. Like, I don't think I'll ever get like famous. I don't think I'll ever get like super, big time, but I do think I will be able to impact a lot of people some way, shape, or form. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to stop caring about what others are thinking. And that's a big challenge for me. I'm a huge people pleaser. So the fact that I have to really like dig deep and just start doing instead of thinking has been huge. But what that has caused is a lot more content in the form of Instagram posts, stuff that I like to do. I do a lot of cinemagraphs on Instagram, and that's not a big thing on Instagram.
What is a cinematograph?
Cinematograph is essentially like a still image with a moving subject.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So it looks like a moving photo, but
Correct.
It's not film.
Exactly.
It's not film.
That's it.
It's a cinematograph.
It's a cinematograph.
I know it now.
There it is. You are all right. We're done. Good. Have a good day. Making stuff like that, I've always loved to do that because it just, for me, I'm like, oh, that's so cool that I'm manipulating an image that I took so much to where it looks like a completely different vertical.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended. But, just a whole different thing, right?
Look at that branding. I love how you market it. Hashtag vert.
Hashtag vert.
Okay.
There you go. So I'm doing that. I'm also more vlogs, and the friends on YouTube are telling me, make more vlogs. Even one of the last ones I did, I called someone out because I was like, all right, dude, every other comment is like, make a vlog, make a vlog,
Pasquale.
make a vlog. Yeah, Daniel Pasquale.
Yoda.
You familiar?
Yoda, yeah.
Yeah, Yoda. Exactly. Yeah, man. So Daniel was like over here just telling me like, make more vlogs, make more vlogs. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I think I got to make more vlogs because I'm a huge fan of his. He's a great storyteller.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's anybody that hasn't seen his content,
Yeah.
shout out. He's like one of the wisest dude. Like even in the comments section, he could tell you something and then just bring you value through his comments.
You can go to see the Seize Your Time film that's on YouTube right now. And we're having like 30 thread conversations about this particular video because he was like, oh, I premiered it on YouTube premieres and stuff, and that's a cool thing, but like for a 3-minute video, it's like that's it.
Yeah,
thanks for coming. All right. He comments a couple times like, oh, I can't wait to see this. It's gonna be so cool. Oh, I didn't know it was vertical. Cool. Blah blah blah. And then this like third comment was just deep. It was like. I want you to do you. I don't want you to, when the fame and the money and the attention is coming, don't lose yourself in it. And it's the reason, now, we haven't talked about this, but I know why he said that. It's because after looking at the description, he'll see that there is, a Yode watch link, and he'll see that it is, sponsored by them. And he'll see that it was something that we collaborated on. There's links and discount codes and stuff like that. Right. And that, I know that's why he said that. I didn't even need to ask him. I was like, So I respond to him like, hey, dude, do me a favor. Watch this film. Give me your honest feedback. If this is something that goes outside of what you're saying, I want to know so I can get better. And this was essentially my first real like product sponsor collaboration thing. The BMW one was different, and I was only on Instagram, and there wasn't all the attention that was from that came from BMW. It didn't come from me really. I didn't promote it much, or I didn't hype it up or discount codes or none of that stuff.
Discount code on a BMW.
Like, what is that? Like, who is this guy? Like, dang, Vert is big. Yeah. No, they were just like, hey, make this film about and showcase the car. That's all it was, right? For me, I wanted to change it up. I wanted to do completely different. So I just made a whole challenge and just made a film about what encompasses the why behind a watch, right? And yeah, he caught back to me and was like, that was perfect.
Cool, man.
That was it. So anyway,
let's dive into that. The interaction with audience. Is there some other time when you creating has been a direct reflection of the audience that you've garnered?
Let me tell you, man, I'm glad you brought that up because I post on my like personal Facebook. So, we all have like our fan pages and like personal Facebook and like Instagram and like maybe a company Instagram, whatever. Right now, so for me, I'm just building my personal brand, but my personal Facebook account is very much a mix of like friends and family and like
the OGs, like the OGs before you could be even classified an OG.
Exactly.
Like coming out of the womb OG.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure Tom on MySpace follows me on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like it's that deep.
During the .com
It's
boom.
that deep. So yeah, I mean, like I'm in a couple of like entrepreneurial groups, right? So I'll make great connections and network with people them on my personal Facebook or whatnot. Which is cool because like me, someone who has started a business and starting to now try to boom it and try to expand, especially now that there's attention in what I'm doing, right? It's great. And I have like mentors to help me with that. So that's my personal stuff. But I rarely like, hey, new video, or, I never like promoted like my content. And it was because I wanted just that to be my personal thing. So what I started to share, because I didn't want to boast or flex, but I also wanted to, you know what I mean?
I love how
like,
that's a term nowadays.
It's such a term.
Gonna be
like,
flexing on them.
The kids are with the flex and the fires and the lits
dabs.
and the dabs, and I'm just relax. Relax. So I'm saying my son is not going to know English by the time like, our kids, when they go to school, they're gonna talk in like just gibberish.
Yeah,
it's gonna be Ebonics 2.0. So I started to share every day. I get a message, whether it's an email, an Instagram DM, a Facebook DM from the fan page, whatever it is, about how I'm impacting someone some way, shape, or form, which has been the most inspiring thing that I could ever like feel from another human being, besides like, my son being introduced to the world, both of them. Right. So it's been insane. Like, I started sharing that, and I didn't want to necessarily share it too much on Instagram because I felt that would be a little, flexing. Right. And not YouTube, because again, I'm just terrified that people will take it in the wrong way. So I started to do it to my personal Facebook, to people who do know me, in some way, shape, or form, and the family and friends. And I'm sharing things like, you literally have changed my way of thinking creatively, because I never thought about going vertical video. I always thought, and smart people know, like people who have a marketing mind know, vertical video, is it the future? I don't go that far to say it's like the future. Everyone is going, like, all the platforms are just going to do nothing but vertical. That's not going to happen, in my opinion, because YouTube will forever be the culture, in my honest opinion. It's just horizontal. Like, I'm used to flipping horizontal on YouTube because I know what I'm getting myself into, right? Going vert, that's going to take a while. I think it will. But I think vert is a new video art form. I think it's a trending genre of creativity for people who can be challenged to do it, right? It's difficult in a lot of ways. Yes, wide shots in vert, drone shots getting in vert are really hard to do.
Yeah, it comes down to that audience retention.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the biggest thing right now, right? Like, we learned that in Vid Summit. So when it comes to like all that, I didn't realize that I would be affecting people with this vertical film stuff or vertical video, but I'm making people think differently. This one person who's now in like my Facebook group literally told me why I was an inspiration and why he decided he was not going to quit making content. He was going to quit. He was like, I was tired of YouTube. I couldn't do this. Like, I wasn't getting the attention, the views, all of that. But I realized from your content that didn't matter. What mattered was creating something and continuously creating to get better and fulfilling a creative, knack or whatnot. For me, it's if I don't have a creative outlet, I will get depressed. Like, it's happened before. The fact that I get those type of messages literally daily right now, it's insane. Oh, hey, I watch your YouTube videos. Like, I love, this or that, or I'll teach people online and they're starting to apply it. And now when I see them apply it, that's what's just like, I literally cannot get paid no money for the rest of my life and just do this. Like, I would go homeless just to do this. Like, it sounds dumb, and I have a family, for God's sake. But it's just that just allows you to understand the impact that has on a human being is actually doing or applying something that I taught them, and it's changing them in some way, shape, or form. Like that, there's no greater feeling. Like, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, and that's why I do the YouTube thing and the Instagram thing and IGTV, is because I'm doing that for a handful of people, or however many it is. And I don't care if it's 1 or 1,000. Like, that's enough. Like, that's it. And for me, I literally can't ask for anything more. Like, I can get 1 view per video, and if it impacts that one person who comments, I can die a happy man.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's I think an ongoing conversation there for that argument is you're going to burn out in the creative content space if you are doing it for the wrong reasons. And what I mean is, like, you're there for the views, You're there for the money and all that stuff, which meeting people from taking them from digital to actual people, like at Vid Summit and everything, everybody that's there, they believe in what they're doing. They believe in why they're doing it. And it's, I don't think I met one person that was there was just like, man, I got this many views and I got this much money yesterday on this stuff, which is there and it's nice, but I don't think that's the end all be all game. And from what you can watch online, I think the ongoing narrative is that if you are in it for the wrong reasons, you're just going to burn out and you're going to get depressed and you're not going to stay there for a very long time.
Or you're not going to create content. People will see right through it. The internet is so transparent. You can see when someone's trying to act fake and you can see when someone's trying to be genuine. Some people may be good at that gray area, but at the end of the day, you're going to get exposed one way or the other, whether it's good or bad, And I think Walt Disney said it best. He says, he has a quote that I just literally just live on. And that is, we don't make movies to make money. We make money to make more movies.
Yeah.
And that's exactly so besides meeting Jack Conte, CEO of Patreon, one of the reasons why I decided to start a Patreon, he was literally like the catalyst. Like, all right, I need to start just because I love him. I'm going to start just to support what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I haven't marketed or anything. Like, I haven't done it. I literally just started the account. I have a meeting with Patreon on Wednesday to see if I did it right. You know what I mean? That's just where I'm at. I only wanted to do it because I wanted to support him and what he's doing and kind of check it out and see what it is. I have a very big problem asking people for money for anything.
Yeah, same here.
It's like, I monetize my videos, cool, but that's just kind of like it's a status quo now. If you can monetize and you're fortunate enough to get the requirements that YouTube has, you can monetize your videos, cool. And people are used to seeing ads before a video, cool. All right, that's easy, right? I don't make much money from that, but the point is I'm able to do that, and that's cool. So when it comes to Jack, he said something that really struck me. Besides everything that I shared in the vertical film, there's one thing that I didn't, and that was community supports community. And that's why I made Patreon. And I was like, huh. And so it's like, if you are supporting your community, what makes you think they won't support you in the process?
Dude, it's so true.
You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to go make a Patreon. I'll see you later. That's literally what it was. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And there has to be a huge level of just being genuine and a good motive and reasoning. And for me, I started a Patreon account. That was the motivation was, okay, what community can support what I'm doing? Do I do this full time? No, I don't. Do I want to do it full time? Absolutely. I want to create content full time. I think that's kind of like the unspoken dream, or some people do speak about it a lot, right? And that is being full time on YouTube, being full time on, whatever, For me, I want to be full time creating. That's what I do. Right now, I have a contract to do post production for a company that I do not like. I'm working for a company that I don't like, and it pays the bills, right? I do have a side business, and something that's booming, and it's becoming a bigger thing now, which is great. Now that my influence is not stagnant, so and I'm blessed for that, but I want to impact people. I want more of those messages for the rest of my life. And I'm providing something for others, and I'm selfishly doing that so I can get those messages in return. That's literally what it is. Cause that drives me, man. It's almost as good. I'm flirting with the fact of saying just as good as hearing my son say, I love you. It's that good. You know what I mean? I say I'm flirting with it because my wife would kill me. She's gonna listen to this. Sorry, babe. But yeah, that's where it's at. I'm creating to provide whatever I can for others, right? Entertainment value, whatever it may be. And if I can get support in return to continue that, I'm not gonna, threaten people. There's always a deeper meaning behind everything, and those people who are able to actually see that deeper meaning are the people that I want to support me. #VERT. Right. So whether it's, supporting #VERT just because, and, one of my biggest ambitions and one of my goals on Patreon is to have enough funding to make my first feature vertical film. Do I think people will watch it vertically the whole time? I don't think so. But a short film or a feature film in that regard.
That'd be really cool, man. Especially since you already have that audience there, it would get shared like wildfire.
Yeah, because it would be up. People do it. It's huge in Italy.
That, and if you document the process just to build up to the whole thing, bam.
Boom, whole series right there. That's my goal. I can't do that right now because I need to do this contract, and I also need to make vertical video ads for people that I'm promising around the area.
You've spoken it into the world.
That's true. Maybe we'll have
there is also there is the importance of being able to pay the bills.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's what it is. And at the end of the day, that's why I started to create a Patreon account, and that's why I will never ever directly ask someone, hey, I need your money here. Like, help me out with this. I will bring light to it here and there. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. This is the first time I'm talking about the Patreon account.
So there's only one. So in podcasting, there's only so much that I like to cut off the guest. But I think because this literally just happened to me too on my last podcast, which was with like a CEO and a president of a company and everything. And he dug what I was doing. And like I think I was telling you earlier, he actually flew me out to go do a thing with him. And at the end of the podcast, I said, and if you want to support the podcast, leave a review on iTunes. And if you could leave a review on iTunes. But that's what I ended it with. And he was just like looking at me dead in the face. And he's like, well, what about like monetary? Can people just like support you? And I was like, I mean, if you want to sponsor the podcast or blah, blah, blah. But then he was just like, do you have a PayPal set up? Do you have and then that's what clicked with me. He's like, you do know that like, people that do support you would love what you're doing wouldn't have anything against just wanting to like support you in your endeavor. And I was like, you know what? That's true. And then after that, I was like, nope, gonna go make a Patreon, because before I had the same exact thing in my head. I was like, man, I don't want to ask people for money and all that stuff. But then just like hearing it from other people is like, you know what? I like getting the messages from people and like inspiring others. It's like, man, I want to do this full time, but it's just like you have those freelance gigs. You have to do all that other stuff to work up the scratch to use your assets and the skills that you have to make the money to do all that stuff. And as you build the other thing, wherever that leads you, that's where it leads you. But I'm on the same wavelength. That's
such a good, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, creative to creative, that's exactly that's the reason why this podcast is so great. And that's why I'm such a fan of it, is because that's exactly what you're getting is you're getting the same opinions and insight from people who or really think similar in some way, shape, or form, or feel certain ways, right? And that's what's great. That's kind of where it is. So that's why I did it. And where it goes, what it does, whatever it is, I don't know, and we'll see. But at the end of the day, I did it. Whoever can or wants to support it, even on the video on Patreon, I was like, if you can't afford this, don't do it. Like, stop. Like, I'm still going to do what I'm doing, every day, and you're going to get what you're already getting. This will just be a little more like, yeah, let's have one-on-one consultations or video breakdowns of your vert or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's all that stuff. Something in the Facebook group that's been huge is live reviews. So I'll watch their videos and like give them critiques, and like, that's been huge. Constructive criticism is a very important thing when done right. People can bash your stuff all the time, but that you're never going to create again. You really won't. Like, if I go to Casey Neistat and I'm like, all right, Casey, I want you to, watch one of my vertical films and let me know your thoughts on what I can improve on. Seeing what I've seen with him for as much content as I consumed of his, I would know he would deliver it in a way I can actually take, understand, and motivate, right? Yeah. Where, I'll go to, let's go with someone, Michael Bay. Okay. And I've met Michael Bay before, and his persona it's very similar to a lot of what people say. He is very much an egotistical person, and that's fine. But he's built himself up to that, and that's okay. It's weird though, because it's almost like an actor now. I don't know.
So I feel like in Hollywood, that's what it kind of takes. Like, owners of companies, there's always something. They are so a brute force to be reckoned with that it's like they've built what they've built, and you're not going to tell them otherwise. Yeah. But I haven't met Michael Bay. So.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I know for a fact that if I go to him and say vertical film, I mean, I come from the industry of, people would call proper filmmaking or movie making, right? He'll just kibosh it, right? Because he kiboshes a lot of things, and he doesn't greenlight a lot of things because, well, he's Michael Bay and he knows what works. He does, right? He's who he is for a reason. But if I were to do that to someone else, I'm crushing their dreams. Like, even if it's just little old me, the fact that I know something about something and they're showing me that something and I'm kiboshing it, that doesn't work for anyone, right? At the end of the day, you can create the best thing in the world, and if people don't watch it, that's okay. I show people how they can watch it on IGTV at least, and then it works, and I figured that out, and I have an online course because I don't care about money so much. That course was free for a while, then it became $5 because I just want people to retain the information. You know what I mean? So it's just what it is. But Walt Disney's quote that I mentioned earlier is what's now helping me, I guess, get out of my ego and ask for some form of help. But it's not even asking, right? It's just like, I'm bringing you the attention that I have something that can help me. Whether or not you want to help me, it's up to you.
I think at this point, you have a proven track record of what you're doing. People know what you are about and what to come to expect. So when it comes to asking for money, they know exactly what they're signing up for or what cause they're getting behind, which I think is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think if you are actually, I'm talking about this like I know the thing, but I think when I look at other people and they're just starting out, and then they have their Patreon and everything, it just takes some time to actually, for people to get what you're about. You have to have the quantity of content out there or have some experience and be like, oh, he's the guy where that thing happened to him and now he's that guy or gal. That kind of happens too. But once people start to get wind of what you're doing, and like I said, you have to like understand what you're about and the why and all that stuff and the purpose of what you're making your content, then it just kind of falls into place from what I've experienced.
No, that's a great point. And that's what I tell a lot of people who either message me. I message everyone back, whether I reply to everyone, every comment on YouTube, every Instagram DM. It may take a while, but I do. Every DM on Facebook. And a lot of people, if you ask me like, what's the one thing people ask about or for, there's two things. One, they ask to collab. And half of the time I have to say no because I did once say I don't have the time, but it was kind of a cop out, to be honest. Now I'm more honest. I'm like, hey, it would be really nice to do that. And I asked them, what would you like me to provide value for your audience? And what would you think you can provide in return? So essentially saying, most people just ask, right? So trying to flip the narrative a little bit and say, because if I dug deep, and you can tell depending on the message and the context and the verbiage, people just want to get, whatever intention you may have, they just kind of want a piece of that for their own themselves. And for a while, I've been screwed many times in that forum from a video production standpoint. So now, I'll humbly ask, that's awesome. Well, what do you have in mind? Where do you think I can provide you value? And where do you think you can provide value in return? Either none of them get back to me, or one comes back and just full list of everything and blah, 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 blah. And all right, that's awesome.
Then it's a great.
We got to collab. That's cool, right? Being selfless works so well because a lot of people in this world in general, especially in the creative world, feel lonely. They feel alone, right? There's been tons of YouTubers that have made videos about this, and even me myself personally, like. One of the reasons why I want to come down here and hang out with you is because I don't want to feel alone. I want to have a bigger network.
But it's true. That's a very serious thing.
It really is.
Especially after going to Vid Summit, it's like being surrounded by so many people doing the same exact thing, or they're in that same space was just like, it was so eye opening and like it was inspiring just to be like, man, everybody here gets it. Everybody here gets it.
It's one thing to feel alone, but if you can encourage someone who's doing something similar. Like you and I, we're connected for life. Like it's gonna happen. Like we're gonna do stuff beyond this, and granted, if I'm cool enough, I don't know.
I'm sure it'll just
naturally
it will formulate into something like, oh hey, I want to go shoot this one thing, and then like when you need somebody just like that gets it, like oh man, I want to like shoot this thing. But I don't want to have it on a tripod.
No, absolutely. Vice versa, man. That's exactly what it is, right?
But you just get it,
Absolutely, yeah. And that's it's the weirdest part. But at the end of the day, I think like the biggest point of everything that we've talked about and shared has been whys, right? Like my whys. I'm not building a community of vertical filmmakers because I want a tribe or a following. I hate that so much that I went to that group and I was like, do y'all even want a name? Like, I don't want to call you guys like Ben Squad or like something. Just
Merce Nation.
Don't mean hey. So, it works for some people, man. Trust me. Like,
I just started with it and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be on the consistencies train. I'm just gonna keep saying it, and then it's gonna formulate into whatever it needs to.
But you're doing you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you can ride with that, right? Me, like going like Ben filmmakers, or you just putting me in there. I don't know, like putting me into that. It's like very weird. It even with Vert, I want to market it as a community for people to think outside of the box. And there's a lot of people who think that way who are very lonely. And I was very much one of them. So now I'm just trying to bring more of those people together to make more friends with each other. You know, that's literally what that's what Vert is. Vert is, on Urban Dictionary, is now defined as a new form of video making, a vertical video filmmaking. That's like one of my biggest accomplishments, is having someone, I don't know where it happened, but someone putting #Vert as an Urban Dictionary definition was like, I'd made it in life. I don't need to do anything else. Like, mic drop. But it's really a community of people, creatives, who want to make something differently together and encourage each other. Is it defined as a vertical video? Is it a slang for that? Yes, it is. But it all encompasses that one thing, which is community and encouragement.
There's two things. One, I wanted to start asking people in my podcast was, what do you think I can do content-wise to have a better experience?
Market.
Yep.
I think your background, you know, in post-production and working at Chive, and like your quality, like you are essentially, if someone like, I'm going to market the heck out of this thing, because I'm going to run it through my little teeny machine and everything, because I want people to see you, because they're essentially like, what I get, something I get all the time is like, oh, you're so underrated, or like, why do you only have 3,000 subscribers, or all this stuff. Right. And it's amazing. And it's like, I love that. Right. But I know why. I'm not playing the system. I'm not uploading every other day. I know exactly why I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not making viral videos. I'm not doing that because I'm not being huge, because I know what it takes. I've seen it. I'm a smart individual who's in the video marketing world. Like, I make that content for other people and it starts to boom and they get more leads and sales. And like, yeah, that's what I do. I know how to do that. I don't do it for myself because it's not genuine. It's not what I want to do. I don't want to make a video about, you know, pranks and slime and, you know, bungee jumping, and, you know, I mean, I probably would, but like, if the opportunity ever came, I would probably vlog it, but like, not specifically for the views. Like, I'm not doing that. When it comes to just that all encompassing thing, you just do stuff.
Yeah.
It's the point. So for you, market. The reason why is people need to know who you are, because you are already ready. So if you pop, right? Like, when you pop, whoever puts you on that, the guy's name you always say wrong, or Lewis Howes, or you know what I mean? Yeah. One of them see your stuff.
I feel like that's gonna be a thing on my podcast.
You just ruined that one.
Matt Davella. I'm gonna get it right.
Yeah. So like, they put you on for whatever reason, right? You're already ready. You have this. You have the production value that's established. Like, you're set. You have a podcast that is literally nothing but value every minute. I mean, this is going to be the best podcast you've ever done. So just mark that right now. Okay. Like, #Vert is the best podcast he's ever done. But, yeah, you're ready. You just need to market yourself.
To give you particulars, I just did a video with the 2 Olympians that I did.
Yeah,
and how I marketed it. One was through LinkedIn. 2 was through Reddit.
Awesome.
Its third part of it was, and this gets into particulars, so maybe the audience gets into this because it's like marketing your video content.
Let's get analyzed. Let's talk video marketing.
When I first published this podcast, it had like 9 views.
Okay.
Day of.
Wow.
And I was doing other stuff, and I was just like, it's super demoralizing.
Yeah.
Super demoralizing when you take like 3 days to work on something.
Yes.
Anyhow,
so bad.
The next one is all right. On Reddit, I'm gonna go find out judo, that subreddit, post it in there. Gonna go find wrestling because the other Olympian was in wrestling. Yeah. Go post it in there. It pops off in those spots. The place where you really need it in like this circumstance is like the people that actually are the other person's audience, because those are the people that want to hear the long tail stuff of that. Mm-hmm. So then it hit on Facebook. But what I did was I posted a preview video, like what I would put on Instagram.
For sure.
And that preview video wasn't posted from my business account. It's posted from my personal. So I think what happened was Facebook wasn't capsizing the not to like, I'm assuming this is what happens.
Okay.
If you post it from your business and it starts to catch on, it'll start to clamp down on it unless you pay to promote it more. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Think about it this way. So yeah, I'll give you some facts. You're spot on. When it comes to fan pages in general, the organic reach on Facebook is only 3% of your audience.
Yeah.
Right. So that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So people who are constantly liking your stuff, no matter, let's say you have 1,000 followers on Facebook, right? And you have a same 11, one can be your mom and grandma, whatever, right?
Exactly.
The same 11, just liking and commenting and all those, it's going to get shown to those, and that becomes your 3%. Other than that, everyone else you are following you, that other 1,000, or I guess if you 3% of that, I mean, the other,
all the stuff.
Yeah, no one sees it, right? Unless you boost it and promote it. And that's one of the things that I share on YouTube, is how Facebook ads is so relevant to getting yourself known if you have the money. Let me show you. I'll share this fun story with you.
Go ahead.
So, I have a freelance. So I'm a freelancer. I'm a freelance videographer and editor, and I make vertical video ads for people, whether it's on Austin or on Fiverr. And I marketed the company, which is Branded Media, which is my establishment. It's how my taxes get paid, and for my business,
LLC,
it's my LLC thing,
yeah.
Whatever, right? That's how I got my insurance for videography and whatnot, business insurance. So I started to market that on Facebook, and boosting ads to the content that I essentially was doing. And I was essentially pointing at myself, kind of like, this is, blah blah blah. And it got good trends, and people started to see it, and it got like 3,000 followers from all those ads and stuff like that. So that's cool, but I only generated like 1 or 2 leads. So I was like, I'm doing this wrong. Like, what is it that I'm doing? So I did the same strategy to my fan page, to me, my personal brand, Benjamin Brandon, and that was completely different. Like I started to get way more leads and way more attention from that because I was an individual.
Yeah.
Right. So unless you're Coca-Cola or Pepsi or, Canon or whoever, you're not going to really get much attention from your true clientele, because you're essentially adding a layer to that individual getting to you. And it's the brand. And that's why personal branding is so huge, is because they're just working with an individual. So the day I changed that was the day I changed my business, is what I say. But I knew, so I ran all my ad spend on Branded Media. And I had no more money to do it.
Yeah.
Damn it. I got followers. Cool. I talked to 2 people. Nothing happened. And it was just a waste of, I don't know what I spent on it, like $200-$300 or whatever. Bummer. And I mean, everyone says this, and it's true. Facebook ads are still super underpriced.
Yeah.
$200-$300 to reach 500,000 people. That's insane. Like, you got to think about that in context. That's insane.
Yeah.
Right. And you have 7 billion people. Is it 7 billion people in the world? No, in the US, and then 2 billion are on Facebook. I think that's the status quo. But yeah, so everyone's pretty much there. So what I did, but here's a hack for y'all. This is notes. Take notes. I'll wait. Okay. So I went to sell. So I went to garage sales, and I flipped stuff to get ad spend. So I would go to these. So I live. If you're around Texas or Austin,
the Gary Vee technique.
Yeah. But even before he did that trash talk stuff.
Yeah.
He kind of like talked about it, during this time. This was a year and a half ago. Right. So he kind of talked about it here and there. Now it's a full-fledged thing.
Yeah.
Right? Especially with Facebook Marketplace coming on and doing that. That was way before Facebook Marketplace, but way before. It was definitely before. So yeah, I would just flip stuff and get money. I did the Amazon FBA thing where I would do like what's called retail arbitrage, which is essentially taking an Amazon app. Like you make an Amazon account to sell stuff, and you would go to stores and look at their clearance stuff and scan this thing. And if this product was going for a higher value than what you're going to pay for it at the store, because the one thing about retail stores, and the reason why, a lot of people will say that they'll almost not be in existence, some of them, right? Like Target is in trouble, in my opinion. Like Target's in trouble. Because people are only going there for nostalgia, where I can just get stuff on Amazon the same day now. Why would I get up to come from my own home, right? But for this, the one of the biggest problems with retail is they're confined in space, right? At some point, they have to get rid of all the Halloween stuff, and they got to bring in the Christmas stuff, right? So what retail arbitrage does is essentially take advantage of that land grab. It's exactly what I've done with VERRT. There was a land grab there because it's vertical video now. I'm just the first one trying to market it out. All right. So just scan it, sell it on Amazon, make double the amount of money for what I paid for it. And then that became my ad spend. So I did the exact same thing for Benjamin Brandon on my fan page. And that's what actually got some attention and views from Facebook. And that's the number one way I promote on IGTV is I'll boost an ad that has a snippet similar to what you do, what you just said. Yep. Boost an ad with the content, some context of what you're trying to promote, and pop it up to many people. And if it's good, which it is, you'll get the attention, you'll get the views.
I think so there's two things I want to go with this. At Vid Summit, there's one guy, he's like a multi-millionaire, he's like a teenager, and he sells socks, and he had one of the keynotes, or he was a speaker at Vid Summit.
You remember his name?
No, but if you look up teenager socks, multi-millionaire, I'm sure he'll pop up.
Was he the one that made those Daryl Eve socks?
Yeah. And he was like, all right, Facebook formula for ads. And again, I'm not like, I haven't done it, so don't only take what I have to say with so much grains of salt.
Sure. I have. So I'll context it.
Yeah. So one of the things was if you are a personal person, and you have something that you're selling, that you're doing, whatever, to grow your business thing. One, film it in VERT. Yeah. Because people want that organicness. They don't want it to look like an ad. Two, do this formula. Start your first sentence with when I was ... fill that in for however that is for you. Next part of it is I believe ... Mm-hmm. Then after that, I started ...
Yeah.
Do all of that in under a minute.
Yep. That's
and then like literally if you just take those little things, again, I can tell you that it worked for that guy.
Yeah.
But maybe you try it. And so what he did is he made different versions of that, telling his same story, right? Yeah. And when he was on stage telling it, he was like, you could tell he had it so down. Mm-hmm. But he did like maybe 5 different versions of it, post every single one of them, only spend like $50 on all of them, see which one pops, and then go all in on the one that pops because it's A/B tested. And you actually know it's going to work.
Exactly. So like A/B testing, right, is essentially taking the same purpose and point and creating it in different formats. Mm-hmm. Essentially, that's what you're taking A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and seeing which one pops. And if B pops, then you just scrap all the other ones and go with B. Mm-hmm. Context, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's point out. So what that strategy is it's a funnel strategy. It's a funnel content strategy. Mm-hmm. So you're going from the top down and you're trying to get people to see what you're talking about. And the number one thing, and I'm still working on this, but I know it, I'm just trying to find my own voice with it, is the number one thing to sell anything is to grab an emotion or a relationship with someone.
And I think the bigger point here is to see that it's not from a monetary.
It's not to sell.
I think we've given enough context of why you're doing what you're doing.
No one's going to buy your stuff if they don't need it. You know, I mean, it's not a Rolls Royce or a Rolex. Those are people who don't need those things. They just have the means to get those things, right? Here's a great example. So I talked about my online course. My online course is called the IGTV Masterclass. It essentially just teaches people about the platform, what they need to do to succeed in it, how to promote their content, and what type of content they should be bringing out. So that's just what it is, and it's literally just everything that I've done that's worked and not worked. That there's a lot more failures than there were there were successes during this whole thing. So I just share all that. Just package it up into video content and, written notes and stuff, and boom, there's an I say it like just it's nothing. It took me like 6 months to do.
I know. Like making digital projects is no small feat.
I'm like, it didn't even take me 6 months because IGTV hasn't been around that long. It took me about 3, 4.
But I think the other part of that too is to make something of value that you can charge, like that you're like, man, this thing is a thing that I know will help people.
A great way to do that for anything is do it for free. Mm-hmm. All of our mentors online preach that. Mm-hmm. Do stuff for free. I did a lot of stuff for free. Sometimes I still do. The IGTV Masterclass was something that I didn't even make yet, but I was starting to talk about and started to run ads for. P.S. If you want to run any ad that's cheap and effective right now, go Instagram stories. Like just I'm making a video on that, but yeah, it's huge. It's huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I just did a bunch of stories, and I literally was just in the negative because I'm just spending money. It wasn't much. It was like $30, and I reached about 10,000 people, I think. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was telling them about the IGTV masterclass. Hey, I've done some stuff I'm Ben, a vertical filmmaker. I think I kind of remember the script a little bit. I'm Ben, a vertical filmmaker, who's most recently gained some success on IGTV. How did I do it? Are you struggling with it? I want to help. Like, I'm not charging you for it.
You just summed it up right there.
It's literally that. And it's even that, but it's even 15 seconds because it's a story, right? So I did all that. Yeah. If you're that individual, swipe up and sign up now, free of charge for the IGTV masterclass. So that's literally what I did. And the reason why I did that, it wasn't even created yet. Like, I had like 2 sample videos, and that was it. And it was literally explaining the importance of vertical video, why it's going to be humongous in the future, not the future. It'll never replace, YouTube. It'll never replace traditional film, but it definitely is another means of consumption. Absolutely. Hands down, of video consumption, especially on smartphones, because over 80% of people who actually go on Facebook are on their smartphone, right? There's only 20% who is actually using the computer to use it. It's insane. YouTube views, I think over 75% come from mobile, so there's that as well. So, I mean, obviously, I think it's 55%, but 75%, I was right the first time. Anyway, so, I mean, that's just where it is. So it's going to be the future, and especially going vertically and not making it addy is huge as well. I make it a mixture of both, right? Like, I'll shoot at 24p, so it makes, it looks a little bit more like a filmy thing, but I will also just talk directly to the camera and not really do much effects, but maybe just try to get people's attention for the first 2 seconds, and that's it. The rest is just me talking about my message, and it's huge. So I did IGTV, not building anything, just to see if I was going to waste my time or not. And I was like, I'm just going to leave it open, free of charge for the first 30 people to see if that 30 people will be worth enough for me to continue this, because
So you didn't have a product yet, but you had something leading to a product.
Correct.
So was it? So like they got there and they're like, oh crap, there's nothing here.
No, it was. So when they got to the landing page, it was very much here's a video about what this is about, and it's not here yet, but it will be this day.
Okay, so sign up for whatever email list.
Up, yes.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And there was kind of like the ticking time bomb effect, where like sign up now before the beta is over, and I will eventually charge for this or whatever, right?
Yep.
Which I charge $5.
Yeah.
Right, because I still want people to get into it. But that alone, there was no product. There was just the idea of the product and what it was going to do and what I knew it was going to do. And I had whiteboard charts and just everything of like everything broken down and scripted and literally ready to hit the trigger.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see what attention it would bring, if there was an actual market for it. So I
think is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Because why waste my time and all that 6 months if no one needs it, you know? So there's that. And obviously I wasn't monetizing it, but I just wanted to see if people needed it.
Yep.
So now you look at, I wanted 30 beta testers and beta users to go through the course, or as I was building it and seeing what would work and what didn't. It turns out in the 2 weeks that I was running the ad, 190 people pop up.
Boom.
And I was like, okay, this is something. So where today there's now 400 who are taking the class. And after the first 190, I didn't know how to manage that. I was like, I did not expect this. So I just told the 190, hey, I didn't realize y'all were going to be here. This is amazing. I literally did a video message like, thank you. Just emailed them out, right? And I'm just going to build the whole thing for you to consume, because it seems like a lot of you want this, and I want to make sure I do it right. And instead of dripping it down to where you watch a video a week or whatever, I want you to go through the whole entire process and the whole entire experience, because I was trying to create a whole experience. I want you to go through that because you are worth that. And that's what I told them. So they waited for 4 months. Like that was like the first month, and 4 months they waited. And when it popped and I finished it, I rolled it up to them. And at that point, after the 190, I charged $5, and another 190 came in. Like I think it was like 210 or something. Right? So it was insane. So there's over 500 people in it right now, and it's all because it was for free. And then people were willing to pay $5 for it. And then when it came out, like just the 5-star reviews started coming in, like literally same day, people were knocking it out. Cool. I don't even know how many hours it takes, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's sizable. I would guess about 5 or 6 of video, written content. So people just knocked it out, and like, boom, you just create a market all through the power of showing what you have to offer and doing one of two things: putting more eyes on it, or putting more eyes onto the particular people who needed it or did not know they needed it.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Marketing.
It's huge.
All the value.
Mhm.
All the value.
Video marketing is huge. It's the future, right? When's the last time you actually read a billboard? Right? When's the last time you picked up a newspaper? How many email flyers have you thrown away in your mailbox every day? Yeah, it's get to where people's at. The eyes matter. Now, granted, eyes matter for attention on a purpose. It doesn't like, salesman, if you're a salesman, then be a salesman and sell stuff, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to like, for me, I guess I can only really speak to myself, or the people I help. There has to be a purpose. I say no to a lot of potential clients because their purpose is not, it doesn't fit me. Like I can't tell their story.
Yeah.
There's this plastic surgeon that I said no to who was going to pay me an obscene amount of money. My wife doesn't know about. Sorry, babe. Yeah, but it like insane money. It was because he was like, yeah, I want to get the hot girls in who want to get ready for summer so they can get more guys and, augment them and
do all that stuff.
Yeah. It was essentially just like, I want to get I don't want to say this like he said it, but essentially his goal was I want to gain, I want the women who didn't feel that they were worth something to be worth something, which if that was said that way, I would have been like, yeah, okay, I can tell that story. But it was said very superficially. So it's like, I can't tell the story. And he pissed too.
Yeah.
Super mad. I found you. Yeah. I'm doing you a disservice by taking your money because I won't do the job that you've seen I can do. I can't do that.
Because you already know why you do what you make.
Exactly.
One last thing that I ask everybody, which I feel like we've covered it at this point, is where you're at today. If say you are graduating college, high school, wherever that be, if you were to talk to somebody at that point in time, what advice would you give them to get to where you're at today?
Yeah, it's a great question. I knew it was coming too. Like I'm in the car, like, all right, he's gonna ask this question. Hit it out of the park. Be the best answer ever. I think we have tapped on it, but I will say this. I'll answer it in two ways. First is you need to have a why, a great purpose to do whatever you're doing. If you are selling insurance, have an insurance and be the best person you can be selling insurance and understand that you're supporting people who need it eventually at some point, right? You're helping a life in that sense. So purpose and why are huge. Now, if you're creating content with a purpose and a why, the number one thing you need to do is invest in yourself. And I think marketing is huge because organic, the thing that people don't understand or maybe not, they don't have a grasp. And this is, unfortunately, I had to learn this the hard way. Organic reach is very much a unicorn. It really is. You look at Facebook, 2 to 3%, like that's insane. Like reach, you have to have 1 million followers to gain a full-size business or a decent attention on that, right? YouTube is a monster in itself, right? Like, if you guys are YouTubers and you look at, you go on TubeBuddy or vidIQ, whatever, and you see what your tags are ranking for and how they're great and then they're not, it's because it's such a perpetual cycle of content coming in that, you're always getting ranked. Instagram's the same thing with hashtagging, where you rank on hashtags is a whole different thing.
That one's even more instantaneous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I say it best in the masterclass. I'm like, IGTV has like ants in his pants or something. So like you need to make your stuff pop in the first 60 minutes and market it however way you can within the first 60 minutes and the rest will follow. Right. But yeah, I think if you have a purpose, you're doing yourself a disservice not to share it with the world. And there are thousands of ways to make money nowadays, right? Online, whatever it may be, whether it's or flipping stuff on eBay or Amazon, whether it's that's what I did, or selling yourself out to stuff, whatever freelance service you have. There's ways to make money some way, shape, or form. Stock footage is that's a decent revenue stream for me nowadays. Like there's always something you can do to make money. And I think the reason why people don't make ads is because they don't want to feel as if they're marketers. And the term marketer is there's a negative connotation nowadays. But I would say this: don't see yourself as a marketer. See yourself as a creator trying to get in front of the eyes of those you want to connect with. That's the hugest thing.
Yeah, I think it also gets back to your Walt Disney quote. Can you say it one more time?
Man, the Walt Disney quote that I live by, and I think a lot of you should live by. we don't make movies to make money. We make money to make more movies. Like, that's just the hugest thing.
And it can wrap up into what you just said, man.
That's it.
Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
You can access me and Access Benjamin. That's on
Marketing.
Access Benjamin on Instagram and Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, Benjamin Brandon, just self-titled on YouTube. You can find me there if you need any support with vertical filmmaking, if you're curious about what it does, how to market it, how to promote it, all that fun stuff. And IGTV, is also on my Instagram at Access Benjamin. And questions, comments, concerns, anything, like I literally answer everything. So yeah, I'm more than happy to reach out to your audience and help in any way I can. And I mean, you and I will continue to help one another. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. This has been such an eye opener, and all the awesome information and stories. I think it's very practical in terms of what content creators are going through today, and some actual like nitty gritty. This is what you can do to alleviate or circumvent whatever challenges you are facing right now.
Absolutely, man. That's the thing. That's what #VERT's about. That's what the mindset is about in general, is thinking outside the box and trying things that you never thought you would do.
I'm tempted to just be like and dab on some haters.
I mean,
I love being an older like esque person, not in the like young kid space, and just being like, I don't care. I like dabbing. just cause.
I'm the young old guy. Like, I mean, I'm 30, so it's like I'm not young doing this at all. But,
I love making fun of that. But okay, if you want to reach out to me or just contact and all those other things, I'm at Javier Mercedes X on all the things, because Javier Mercedes was taken. But that's okay, because I'm growing those. So I'm on YouTube, all these places where you're probably listening to this, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. If you, like I said before, if you could leave a review on iTunes, and at this point, if I do have that Patreon up, hey, if you want to support and you got value out of what you've heard today, thank you so much. Thank you again for your time, man.
Appreciate
your
it,
time and all of that. Until next episode, live a life of abundance, and I will see you guys next time.
Life of abundance. Yes.